What's up, guys? Hopefully you're having a good day. Dial down this music a bit for y'all. So play some Oblivion, chat a little bit. I'll be on at 1 with Please Rewind, so I'll try to have the link for that stream up towards the end of this stream. So we'll try to get that going here. And I'll let you know what's going on with that. He's a YouTuber that talks about movies a lot, so we'll have a little chat with him, see what's going on. In the meantime, you guys can hang out with me, and we'll play some Oblivion. I have to redo the main quest from Wednesday because I didn't save, but that's kind of okay. So I can actually kind of segue this and talk a little bit about what are the penalties of death in a game, right? The main penalty of death is actually a time penalty. Time penalties are the main penalty that you get in game design when it comes to anything, really, right? So you can look at any kind of challenge in a game as a factor of time. So you're going to overcome a challenge through investment of time. That's the first big one, and you're going to be penalized for not performing well by having to spend more time at something. So if you think about Super Mario Brothers, you have to invest time in order to, basically get good enough at the game that you can then be able to complete the game. So there's an investment of time to build up your skill. With something like Dark Souls, it seems like it's skill based, and of course it is, but in order to get those skills, you have to play the game. So you have to invest some time learning how to play the game and get your skill level up high enough to where you can actually overcome it. And I think most of the complaints about ableism or something like that in games really comes down to not some sort of thing where if somebody has a physical disability and can't physically manipulate controls, that you're somehow discriminating against them by having a game like Dark Souls or like Bloodborne or any of these kind of tough FromSoft games. It really just comes down to most games journalists don't have the innate talent to overcome the fact that they would have to spend a lot of time building up their skill to be successful at those games. And one of the reasons that I haven't really played through Dark Souls or had never finished Bloodborne is simply I don't want to invest the time to get good enough. It's not that I'm bad at games. It's that, it takes some effort and time to build up that kind of skill to where you can just blast through a game like that. It's tough. So that's the main penalty is time. If you think about World of Warcraft, this was always a debate like 10, 15 years ago about what should the death penalty be in an MMO. Should we have full looting? When you die, should your enemy be able to take all of the items off of your corpse and use them? What would that game design look like? Well, the main penalty in World of Warcraft is a time penalty, not a monetary penalty. But even if it wasn't a time penalty, if it was a money penalty, like when you die, the enemy gets to loot your body, let's say. So if you die and the enemy gets to loot your body, what's the penalty? Oh, it's a monetary penalty. No, it's a time penalty because it takes you time to get that money back, time and effort to reacquire those items or remake them or whatever it's going to be. Most penalties come down to time. And so the reason you don't want to die in Super Mario Brothers is because you'll lose that time. And if you get a game over, that means you have to reinvest all the time that it took to get up to that spot to then attempt that obstacle again. So the tension and the difficulty cranks up, and it gets more worrisome as you get deeper and deeper into a game that requires a ramp up in skill. So your skills need to ramp up, and therefore the time penalty becomes more severe as you go. Dying on the last level of Contra or getting a game over on the last level of Contra can be crushing because of all the time investment it took to get there. So the next time you want to do that, you have to go all the way through the game again to get to that point to then try that effort again on the final levels. So mostly comes down to a time penalty, not really other kinds of penalties that you may think about. If you're going into the tabletop RPG space, it basically boils down to a time penalty as well, but not so much. So if you have a character that dies and you're playing, I prefer older editions of Dungeons & Dragons. So your characters die a lot in the early levels. You got to re-roll a character. You're behind other people as far as power goes. But otherwise, there's not really that much of a penalty. The death penalty really is just you're not as powerful as you would otherwise be, and otherwise you're not really losing a lot of time. So there's really not a whole lot of death penalty in Dungeons & Dragons earlier editions. If you're going to the later editions, then the penalty is mostly psychic. You know, if you're level 15 bard that you wrote like some kind of extensive backstory to dies, well, that's a significant loss. You know, that means that this thing that you created is like dead in a metaphysical sense, I guess, and that's a very steep penalty. So we see as Dungeons and Dragons has developed over time, and I think this really picked up in 3rd edition and 3.5, this idea of like extensive backstories, all the way up to 5th edition now. Death penalties have been all but eliminated. There's so many ways to avoid death now in Dungeons and Dragons, and the reason is because players would get upset if they died and could never recover their character that they put all this psychic energy into. The death penalty would be too severe. Whereas if you had no deep psychic attachment to your level 3 elf warrior or whatever or elf fighter in D&D 1.0, you just roll another one and keep trying the game, keep trying to figure out the dungeon with your friends. You know, it's a big difference in terms of penalty. So the psychic attachment penalty is a big one. It would be like in World of Warcraft, if you have a character deletion duel, that's like a psychic loss. It's not just a loss of time. Like if you have a level 60 character and you're going to delete it after a duel. And if you guys are laughing at character deletion duels, this was like the ultimate level of trying to challenge someone in old school WoW. It's that you would delete your 60 because it took all that time to get to level 60 and acquire those items, and it's the whole thing. So death penalties are really just come down to time penalties of various kinds, and you really don't want to have to lose your time when you're playing. So that's kind of what I wanted to get into. Some games really make the time penalty very minimal. So if you're playing Final Fantasy 13, you die, you basically just get to try that encounter again. So your time penalty is really just the effort that you put into that encounter, meaning that you don't want to die in an encounter, but it's not like you're suffering this big loss and you have to go back to the save point in a dungeon and not be able to go any further. You can just retry that little section, if you will. So the death penalty is pretty mild. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's hop into some Oblivion. Let me take a look at the chat. Hope you guys are doing great today. And like I said, I am going to be on with Please Rewind at 1. So I'll cut the stream a couple minutes short and hopefully have a link for that next one. I think he's going to be a few minutes after 1 anyway, so it should work out fine. Oblivion's one of my favorites ever. It's mine too. The Hello Kitty guitar, my wife bought that for me. It's actually a pretty good guitar for tracking like metal rhythm guitar. I still prefer the death penalty of original EQ. You have to find your corpse and get your equipment back. Time penalty is preferred. Well, it's still a time penalty. I like the death penalty of EQ, but it's a more severe one. You lose experience, which means you have to spend time getting the experience back. You have to spend time trying to get your corpse back. And actually, there's another little penalty there, which is you have to ask other people for help. Has anybody seen my corpse? Help me drag my corpse back. If you're in a dangerous place, like, can you res me, please? Please let me find a cleric to res me, you know. That kind of stuff was great for a death penalty. It really made you desperately want to avoid death because the penalty was severe. And so that's always a question with design. How severe does the death penalty really need to be to make players be fully committed to exercising caution? You know, you want players to go into an encounter with caution. And this was a thing in D&D as well, is that earlier editions didn't always emphasize like the murder hobo lifestyle of let's roll into a dungeon, just kill, like 4th edition was roll into a dungeon, kill everything, because it's actually a tactical RPG and not really a D&D game at all, and get the loot and leave. Whereas original editions, you'd be like, do we want to actually engage in this encounter, or do we want to negotiate our way out? Do we want to run away? Looks like all these orcs are going to wreck our face. Perhaps we should think of another solution besides trying to kill them and surely dying in the attempt. It's a little past 10 p.m. in Finland. I just watched a live concert from Majestica on Facebook. That was an interesting little thing they did there because they can't go on tour. It's kind of fun. I remember mini raids needed after raids to recover gear from corpses deep in dungeons and EQ. Yeah, and if you were trying all night at something, you'd have to call the raid because everybody would have de-leveled from dying. Everybody would have lost a level or two from dying so many times, and you'd have to try to res everybody to get the EQ back or get the XP back, and then everybody have to go level up over the next week to do the raid again. Because getting that last level, getting the last levels in EverQuest was really hard, really tough. So time can be precious in games. I agree. Metal Gear Solid had that extreme difficulty where the game ends if you were spotted. That's a fun idea. I kind of like the idea of like a hardcore character in Diablo. It's the same idea. Like if you die, you lose the character. You can't have that much psychic attachment to it because sooner or later it's gonna fail, and then the slate is wiped clean. You know. Yeah, other games where it's all comes down to time. Like you don't want to if you spend 20 hours on your character and then he dies. That's like a what? It's like pressing delete on a book that you've been writing. You know, that's kind of tough to deal with. Anyway, let's see if we can. We'll hop into Oblivion here. I've got my chat open, and here we go. Beautiful music. Some of my favorite music ever. Favorite guitar. It's a toolbox, so it depends what I want to do. I really like playing my John Petrucci Music Man. This one. You know, I really like. Oh, there's the pick. Yeah. You know, I really like playing this one. It feels real good to play. And it can just do everything. So it's a real joy to play. I have it set up really good too. My Ibanez, which you can probably see in the corner there, a lot of fun to play. Tonally, I like that Fender in the back, the white one. I like my classical guitar quite a bit. They're all good. You know, I don't keep any guitars around that I feel like aren't fun to play or don't have a purpose, but it is kind of a toolbox. So that's kind of how I approach it. To me, the most fun guitar to play is the one where you can do everything that you want to do. Let's see where I was at. All right. I think I was going to go do the main quest here. So I think we got to go back to Wayne and Priory and do all that. But I can rush through it. I won't read the dialogue or anything. Have you heard of classical Indian slide guitars? Artists like Dabashish Bhattacharya. Highly recommend a listen after the stream. Maybe I will. I actually like Indian music. Indian music, I've actually played it in a couple different capacities. I'm not like an Indian music expert. It's just I can sit in with guys doing raga, or I have.
To find Martin and bring him back here.
Oh, okay. I already talked to him apparently.
Farewell.
Interesting. Do I have the horse yet? Did I manage to get the horse out of the stables? I'm not sure what save this is. But I was going back to Shadenhall. I guess I already have Prior Mabel's horse. Interesting. Hello, sheep. Alright. We'll go to Kvatch. So yeah, classical Indian music also uses violin in some very unconventional ways.
Come on! God! God!
Alright. I'm getting owned by the sun. So this is going to be an interesting thing. Let's see if I stop getting owned by the sun if I go inside this. Nope. We are going to have to load a different save here. And wait till nightfall. I have Oblivion, but haven't really delved into it. Is it a better RPG experience than Skyrim? Nothing I do feels important in Skyrim and you feel like a nobody. Well, Skyrim really gives you the whole, like, you're the chosen one thing. So, Oblivion will make you feel more like a nobody, I think. But, it's not. I like it better as an RPG experience than Skyrim because I feel like your exploration really has a much bigger effect on things. Morrowind too.
What?
But I still like Skyrim.
You are welcome to take.
Alright.
Farewell.
I like the I like pretty much everything about Oblivion better. I even like this full screen glow effect that they put in everything around this time. So, I don't know. Try it out. I think Oblivion really just kind of turns you loose in a better way. You kind of feel like the world is more yours to explore. I think Skyrim gives you a little bit more directed experience, at least at the get-go, and makes access to certain things a little too easy. Especially, I was disappointed by how easy it was to be a werewolf. What time is it? Wait, 1 hour. Oh, I got even more vampirism. Embrace of Shadows, sweet. Let's go to Kvatch. Getting more and more vampiric. I have to admit, I'm not a big fan of PC gaming. It all depends what you're doing. I think, to me, console gaming is different. Console gaming is more like chilling out on the couch. So I like to play like Final Fantasy games as console games more than PC games. PC games are a little more like, you're sitting up, kind of doing this. You can still be relaxed playing a PC game, but it's a different experience, kind of reaching forward on the keyboard. A little bit different. Not worse at all. The removal of H2H and Monk class in Skyrim really irked me. Yeah, the hand-to-hand was always something cool. And I should have made this character a punch wizard. I think punch wizards are really fun. Basically, you don't wear any armor and you punch. That's your physical attack. And otherwise, you're using magic. So you can really avoid having to have like your bags filled up with heavy armor and stuff like that.
Stand this.
All right.
Are you? If you.
All right. Still have the Langerwine blade. Let's put on the Dwarven longsword. Rid of that stunted scamp. I remember, if you do this at low level, if you like just start this quest right away, which the game doesn't push you to do, but it definitely, it's kind of where you're starting. You can actually get some good items off of the guards by letting them die. My Dremora is like wrecking this guard. Look at him, he looks cool.
The others. Captain, I'm the cat. All
right. Alright, now trying to remember. Alright, let's quick save this time. Keep PlayStation great, wink wink, great again, wink wink. I hear OG Daggerfall devs are making a new RPG though. That would be cool. Daggerfall was a super ambitious game and very cool for the time. I don't think it's very playable now. I mean, it's up to you. I think that it's really just the interface and the graphics are too dated to make it really enjoyable these days. And it will, frankly, I don't think it would have been that enjoyable at the time compared to, what we have now. Morrowind is still very playable, and I did do a video. You can play it on your phone, and it's actually a pretty good phone experience because of the way Morrowind is. Because you have those rolls to see whether you hit. You can make a very kind of tanky character and just roll around, smashing things with the touch controls, and they work pretty good. Or you can hook up a gamepad, and the gamepad support on Open Morrowind, the Android fork of Open Morrowind, is great. You can do pretty much whatever you need to with that, and it feels just like playing on the original Xbox. Works great. Oh, the Wayward Realms. I'll definitely check it out. That's something that I think is actually missing a little bit, is another one of these RPGs that's really just focused on your story, not the story, like player exploration and how you go about achieving your aims. Ooh, Dagger of Sparks. Nice. And man, let's look at this treasure. My speed is being drained by some... Oh, it's by these flowers. Get out of here, flowers. Am I still wearing... Oh, I'm still wearing this stuff. Put on my Agronak raiment. Actually, we want to sneak around a little bit. Dagger of Sparks. Some shock damage. It's still not as good as my Dwarven Longsword, though, oddly. I'm hearing, like, battle music, which means that something's trying to kill me. See if we can see him through the walls somewhere. Oh, he's up there. Oh. He's up there. He sees me, but he's, like, still up there. Wonder if I, like, stop. He'll stop seeing me. Oh, thank you for the super chat. Don't want a repeat of last stream. Thanks for the stream on Saturday. Was getting bored until the notice popped up for NewPub. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. So, any more bad guys trying to get me? Boop, boop, boop. Now, I need to get to the central tower. Which tower am I trying to get to? I think... Oh, there's another bad guy. Let's kill him. Oh, there's another one. My own guy's wrecking me. Come on, dude. Don't wreck me so hard. Let me see. Where are we? Oh, wait. Oh, a mine. That's lovely. Another scamp. Just mob these guys down with my sword. Why did I pick that knife up? It's garbage. Put on my bow here. I do have a steel bow somewhere. This guy. Oh, I killed him. I one-shot him. Sweet. There's the tower. It's only been an hour since he locked her in the tower. You heard of comedian YouTuber? Yeah, Owen Benjamin. He's gotten banned, I thought. Thought the bear got banned on at least one of his channels. He says too many naughty things. I think Dave Chappelle actually stole one of his jokes on the recent special. Or, like, basically wrote a joke that was so similar it was uncanny. About, like, you know, the different LGBTQ people driving the car. I think that was the joke. You know? But to be fair, like, Dave Chappelle... Like the, retreat. Dave Chappelle, like, trannies really hate him for some reason. I don't quite know why, but they sure do. Oh, this guy's gonna get me good. Absorb some health. Got him. Oh, them Daedra hearts. Dramora mace. Boy, it's heavy and doesn't do a lot of damage, but repair it for a skill up. Yeah, Owen just says whatever and doesn't care, and that's kind of what's cool about him. I think he believes in a moon hoax, which is I don't believe in the moon hoax, but you know, if you throw out enough conspiracy theories, at least one of them's going to be right too. Gotta remember that. Oh, I think I can shoot this guy. Right, I think I have a Daedric bow. Here we go. And we're gonna wreck him with this. Just kind of juke around the fireballs. Something you can do in Oblivion. And you can do this in Morrowind too. That's kind of what's cool about using a gamepad if you play Morrowind on your phone. It's a lot easier to deal with spellcasters. Because spellcasters send out these slow-moving fireballs that you can just kind of, you know, you can just kind of move around them without too much difficulty. And it works well. Door to the Rending Halls. Yeah. I don't like to autosave too much, or quick save. Yeah, I don't like to do like the cheap quick saves. It's just a personal thing. Like where you quick save and then try to unlock a chest and it doesn't work, so you reload. You know what I mean? I don't like doing that. To me, that's a little cheap. That guy dies instantly. Wow, that's a cool one. I'm overburdened now, though. So we're gonna put something on this body. I'm gonna put that triple mace. There we go. Let's use this thing. Oh boy, that doesn't do crap, does it? This works pretty good, though. Why did I pick that bone up? Oh, the blood fountain restores your health, but I don't want to use it just now. Door to the blood feast. I think we're gonna... Should I go to the blood feast? Okay, this is the middle. Yeah. We want to keep working our way up. But I think we can keep going up this way. Does this go down or up? Down. Okay, we want to go up. I learned to quick save due to crashes. The early PC gaming reason to save scum. Yeah. This is another thing about PC gaming, is that it's always inherently less stable than the console. The console releases, because you're dealing with one set of hardware, or maybe two, you know, now. You're dealing with a limited set of hardware versus this game needs to run on you know, 50 different kinds of video cards. And of course, this game's from the early 2000s, so the compatibility is going to be a little weak on that too. Oh, there's a corpse here. Oh. Well, that's rad. There's a scamp here. Oh, now he sees me. Don't worry, we're going to get you rid of you real quick, sir. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of you. Bye-bye, scamp. Oh, this scamp got killed by by this trap. That's rad. Let's see here. Plane of Oblivion. So if we want to go out here, I think we can go into one of the mini towers. See, I always thought this was so cool to like go out and you can see everything. I think my draw distance might be turned down right now, though. Sometimes it resets the draw distance to be like really bad. Or it might just be an effect of Oblivion. I can never take the moon thing seriously. It requires a level of confidence from the government that no one should be able to believe at this point. Well, I also, you know, like my grandfather designed the computers that went to the moon, or built them. You know, they were all hand wired. He worked for Texas Instruments. So like, what was he doing then? Building computers for nobody, I guess. Getting burned up here. Let's Sigil keep key, that's good. Gift of Flame. Let's see which one's better here. I think these are worth some money, though. I don't want to, like, drop them all. 1 point for 10 seconds on strike. That's not that good. You know? And it's not even really worth money, so we can drop that. Also, I'm sure I got some junk here I need to drop, like the bone and the knife. And I can also very quickly go ahead and make some potions. Some Night Eye potions. More. A couple skill ups here. Oh, thank you for the super chat. Big Man T-Rex. Any tips on teaching myself piano? Well, there's a lot of resources. I would check out YouTube videos from piano players that will show you where to get started. Like what kind of method books to look at, basic technique stuff, and then from there it's mostly practice. You can also, yeah, if you're looking to self-teach, that's probably what I would start with. Is you know, one of these YouTube channels that's dedicated towards that, and then you can go from there and decide what you want to. What you want to look at there. I think, you know, the thing about learning anything is it really comes down to practice. So as long as you're setting aside time to practice every single day, you will be making the you'll be making a lot of progress. You'll be doing a lot of learning. Corn! I got lots of corn. Potato. Cure poison. I think I'm immune to poison as a vampire, though, so I'm not sure. Damage luck. That's kind of funny. Damage fatigue. Detect life. That's interesting. You can do a lot with alchemy in this game. A lot.
In the cage! Over here!
I think you can actually kill this guy on accident. There's got to be like a lever here somewhere, right? I'm decent on piano and I've probably forgotten how to read music at this point. That's why I'm a big jazz guy. I hate reading music. I like playing it. Give me some chords and I'll figure the rest out. Well, sight reading is very, very valuable. I mean, sight reading is the original.
Quickly, there's no time. You must get to the top of the large tower. The sigil keep, they call it. That's what keeps the Oblivion gate open. Find the sigil stone. Remove it and the gate
There we
will
go.
close. Hurry. The keeper has the key. You must get the key.
Yeah, I mean, you'll get used to it. It really all does come down to practice. If you're willing to spend the time practicing, you will improve. Most of the time, people waste their money on lessons when they're not willing to sit down and make time every day to practice. And the truth is, if you sit and make time every day to practice, and maybe you don't spend the money on lessons or whatever, that's not going to matter that much in the long run. Because the truth is you'll just get better by practicing. Now lessons can help because they can direct you, they can focus you. You know, they can help you know what you need to improve on and what you need to focus on in your practice sessions, but they're not the end all be all. You can do lots of improvement without lessons. And that's really why I started my channel initially was... oh, there's no lever. Thank you, Fresh with Slice. I'm looking around like, can I free this guy? Can I make him free? Yeah, this is not to say that you're not going to get anything out of lessons. You definitely will, but most people don't get their money's worth out of lessons because they do not take the time to practice. And I know because I did, you know, private instruction and stuff for years, for many years, and it always came down to practice. The people who practiced improved. People who didn't. Didn't matter what I said to them. And I started this channel to allow people to have more options for learning guitar without having to like spend a bunch of money on an instructor. And I think I've helped a lot of people to that end, but at the same time, you know, it's really all about you. Like, you're the master. Same thing with writing books. Like, you are the master. And if other people are going to be a part of that, great. But it's you that has to do the work. No editor can make your story good. No, you know, no amount of listening to my YouTube videos on how to write a book will make you write a book well. You have to sit down and write it. Tropic Touch. Now, I should actually probably have put on... I should have put on my armor. Because this stuff... Yeah, my hood's broken. It'll still give you the stats, but you won't get any armor effect from it. Which kind of sucks. Whatever. Oh, that's cool. Whoa, Mace of Jinxing. Dwarven boots. I'm gonna have all kinds of loot. Does this Dagger Sparks have any? There's 2 uses left. Mace of Jinxing. See, this sounds cool, but like it's not useful. Like, damage magicka doesn't really do much. We're kind of better off with like the longsword. You know, longsword does a lot of work. Magic does work on that guy, apparently. Who's your favorite author? Hard to say. I like Tolkien. Doesn't have the most books, but my favorite books tend to be Tolkien books. There's so many authors. I don't know. I don't know who's my favorite. I like Michael Moorcock a lot. Maybe he's the favorite. I'm not sure. I love Damage Magicka and Elder Scrolls. Just a giant waste of time. Since NPCs regain Magicka 3 times the rate you do. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, huh? Like, I'm damaging their Magicka. Woo. I think I could just run up there and take the sigil if I like go quick, but I'm not gonna go quick. I'm gonna slowly kill everything in sight because that's who I am. This wizard will die immediately because he's weak as hell. Is the scamps? Oh no, there's another one here. All right, bud, I got you. And see, this is great to be a battle mage because you can just freeze them through their like block. They put their little shield up the block and you just cast your frost touch at them and they die. I think I wrecked that guy. Just to Tremora Mace. Usually there's a couple like, yeah, like sacks of bones and stuff around here. It's like this thing here where it's called the Punished. Like this was a person that they like filleted. Or a Daedra or something they filleted into this. Really grotesque. I dig it. It's really grotesque. I dig it. When you're low level, you really notice when you put on heavy armor. Really notice. This man is Pelinal. Pelinal Whitestrake. I like Dostoevsky. Loot, loot, loot. Oh, there's the sigil stone. Let's see what we get up here. Warhammer of Diminishing. Drain strength. Man, it's heavy, and I'm probably not going to get that much money for it. Let me see if there's something. Can I put something else in here that's like worthless? This is going to give me a lot of gold. Maybe the silver dagger. I got to drop 20 pounds here. I mean, I might just put this back because it's just probably not worth it. I don't need that green silk garment. Have any garbage sitting in here? Not really. No, I think we'll put that back. Just don't have the capacity to carry it out. Alright, take the sigil stone. Then we get to enchant an item. So we can enchant an item with the sigil stone, and even if you're not going to use the enchanted item, you can sell it for quite a bit. Usually, which is worth it. I have closed the gate by taking the sigil stone that anchors within Oblivion. I should tell Savli and Matthias that the way into Kvatch is now open. I'll go clear my bags out before I kill all these demons. So actually I might do that real quick. Before I even talk to him, you know. I'll go, can't travel while taking health damage. Oh, this is bad. Okay. Gotta find something with a door, because I'm taking health damage. Or see if somebody's sleeping down here. Because I'm a vampire. Actually, I can get around this real quick. Have you ever done a no weapons or magic playthrough? Yeah. That's kind of what I should have done. I should have done Punch Wizard. No weapons. But whatever. I chose my path. And since we're a vampire, we get a lot of benefits from this. So, it's 10:08 a.m. We're going to wait 11 hours and then take it out, and then we won't die. Do you have a favorite RPG? This is one of my favorites. If we're talking video game RPGs, there's so many. Tabletop RPGs, there's a bunch too. You know, what's my favorite system? I like early D&D. I like GURPS. How many times have you played through Oblivion? I'm not sure, because I don't know if I've ever actually played through it all the way, like in a 100% completion or something. There's always something that new to find that you just don't remember about. I've played a lot of this, so okay. That solves that problem. Now I might go ahead and go and over here. There's a guy who sells stuff over here. It's my horse. Prior Maybell's horse. When you finish Dark Brotherhood, you get like the best horse in the game. The Shadowmere. It's like the fastest horse.
You need something?
Yep.
Let's do business.
Alright, I need to sell... Oops. Let me, let's talk to this guy first.
Yeah? Walk up.
I think I have some charm spells. Reign of Terror.
Always in the shadow of city.
I think I can do... I think those
You
are
need
two
something-
things. So let's see if that worked.
We'll see.
No, I just did the 12 points. It's fine.
I offer the finest goods and...
And the more you talk to this guy, the better he likes you. Which is nice.
You got a great deal. That seems a fair price. You drive a fine transaction.
And he has a lot of gold, so if you ever have like Daedric items that you need to sell, he'll buy them. He'll buy the Daedric items. He'll buys everything as well, so
That's a good deal.
you know you can sell whatever you need to sell
That's a
to
good
him.
deal.
I don't know if I've read all these tomes, so I'm going to check them real quick before I sell stuff. Sell a couple for flawless pearls. Of course, in Skyrim, you could keep the jewels to
Thank you for
make
your
like
business.
more expensive rings, but in this one, not really. You can't really like make rings. Add frenzy, yes, yes. Dispel other mysticism. Add shield wall to your list. That's a good one. Look at that. That's a really good spell. Your block skill increased. Look at that. Awesome. I'm not going to read this entire book, but you can read them. Like, you can find them online and read them all of them. These are all pretty cool to read. I love that, and I'm going to have a video coming out called like Indirect Exposition in games, and this is an example. You can kind of learn about the world optionally. Like, you don't have to read this book, it doesn't really matter, but if you want to get deeper into the setting, you can read the books. So it's pretty neat.
Walk always in the shadow
Let's see
of
here.
city.
Do you prefer Oblivion to Morrowind? I probably do,
You need
but
some-
they're different beasts with different flavors,
Certainly.
so it just depends what you want.
look at my
Morrowind
game.
to me,
I'm sure there's
it's just
something
a very
you should
different kind of game. It's a great game, but it's great in a different way.
That seems a fair
I prefer
price.
the gameplay of Oblivion to Morrowind. And I prefer probably
That seems a fair
the
price.
overall way the world is constructed, like the way that you explore the world. I probably prefer in Morrowind. There's definitely things I prefer about Morrowind. The gameplay of Oblivion, I think, is just straight up better.
Walk always in the shadow of city.
All right. Might have to buy a room. Nope, I could just break into a room and sleep in it. Alright, let's sleep for 18 hours. OG Skyrim before they had mounted combat, and the crashes was terrible. I remember playing Skyrim when it came out and it never crashed for me. Alright. Endurance, agility, int. That's what we're going with this time. Really, the only one that you've hated was Fallout 3. Now, Fallout 3 is one that everyone liked, and I just didn't like it as much as other people. I thought it was an okay game. I thought Fallout New Vegas was way better. Just way more fun. It captured the feeling of Fallout. Fallout 3 felt like it wasn't even really Fallout. Yeah, Fallout 3 didn't... these kinds of games really shouldn't be about main stories at all, to me. I think they should be about other things. Now, where do I need to go? I think Coral. I'm going to go ahead and train Armor real quick. Bit off topic, I know you're a guitarist, but have you ever had a problem with running out of riffs? Not really, but I mean, there's sometimes a feeling that like you're doing the familiar too much. Like you're doing what is familiar way too much. That's really common. There's ways to break out of it, you know. Try different tuning. It'll sound different and make you do some different things. You can also, you know, play 7 or 8 string guitar. That works. That also is a good one to do. Yeah, I like Caesar's Legions. I like that you could side with different factions that did different things. That, to me, was a really good touch. Very good touch. It might be the only game where I've actually been angry at how dumb the plot is. Can we just enjoy the calm? It's one of the things I like about Oblivion is that it has these extremes. It's like super calm, you know, and really beautiful. And at the same time, that it's super calm and very beautiful, it's also got deadly stuff like Oblivion gates that are horrific. It's like, I don't want to lose this awesome vampirism, but man, it sucks to have your son just own the crap out of you. I'm gonna need to call it in about 3 minutes, so. And let's see if I can get a quick armor skill up here.
Get back, you.
Oh, she won't even talk to me because I'm too vampiric. Alright. We'll wait 14 hours inside your shop. Try different tunings, yeah. You can go like real extreme, like drop C or something. And just the different sound will make you approach it differently because things won't sound the same and you can't play the same things. That's kind of a big one. If you can't play the same things, then it will just force you to do new things. You can also do like other weird Scotatour's weird tunings, like things where you're not tuning in fifths, like Baroque lute tuning and stuff like that. That's an option too. 1 hour. See if everybody goes to sleep. She's racist. She's racist against pale vampires. I get it. Vampires are... I'm going to do another Storycraft on vampires, actually. People always complain about the new vampires. Like, why are these vampire stories about how you, like, want to be a vampire? It's because we've become rather materialist. You ever find the sword Chrismere in Marwyn? I don't know if I have or not.
Good evening. I am Albert. Farewell.
Oh wait, he gives you the Reynold James.
Yes, it's quite odd. Reynold, who I've bumped into several times in Coral, acted like I was a complete stranger. Also, he seemed sober, which is a refreshing change. Usually, Reynold is stumbling around Coral drunk as can be. Very odd. But then it's really none of my business.
It's none of my business, but here we go. Let's talk about it.
Hello there.
Tikius. Alright, now we'll go train, repair our garbage, and then we'll call it a day, actually, because I gotta go hop on, Please Rewind's stream. And I'll actually check to see if he's given me any kind of link for that. I learned classical guitar as a kid for many years and was pretty good at it, but then completely lost interest in it in college. Sucks, just did not see any point anymore. Well, I understand and identify with that, considering
Well met.
I was a classical guitarist by profession for
Let's get to training.
a long time.
I can show you some new knowledge is the key to success. And let's get to training. There's much.
There
I
goes
can show
Mama
you.
Gold.
I can repair almost any.
Costs like 1 gold to repair the shrouded armor, which is great. Ugh.
I offer the finest goods and
My
most
gold.
prices all Cyrodiil.
All right.
Take care.
You can find like a heavy helmet. We can enchant it. All right, I'm getting owned by the sun again. All right. Let me see if I got any kind of link here from him. Give me a minute. Let's get a stream link from him. We'll give him a minute. All right. The starter dungeon in Daggerfall, more labyrinthine than the entirety of Skyrim. All of them are like that because they're like procedurally generated. Sometimes there's stairways that literally go nowhere. They just go into dead ends. And I kind of like that. It's just kind of, there's always a surprise. Have you heard about the Chinese organ transplant hospitals? I have heard of this. Where are they getting the organs was like the question. Some people like Daggerfall. See, the 90s were full of level design like that. If you go back and play even like Doom or Marathon, like these 3D shooters from the 90s, sometimes the levels are quite labyrinthine, and that was the way it was. Dark Forces levels were like labyrinths a lot of times. A lot of them were just really hard to find your way around compared to now, where everything's kind of easy to go. That's why I thought Elder Scrolls Blades was so bad, because not only was the dungeon one way, they even like lit up a little path for you to tell you which way to go. So it's like, here, you got to go this way. It's like, I don't have any choice. This is a unidirectional dungeon. There's no options. There's no ways through it. You just go one way through the dungeon. It's like, what's the point of that? All right, yeah, I think I'm gonna save it. New save, and I'm gonna go ahead and I got the link. Let me go ahead and send it to you, and then we will get going here. All right, so here's the link for the next stream. If you guys want to hop on and chat with me a bit over on Please Rewind's channel, let's go ahead and do that. And I'm gonna go ahead and end this stream here. Thanks so much for hanging out with me and talking games and stuff. Newest book, Keys to Prolific Creativity. This is all about refining your process. Audiobook, most of it's free on YouTube now, but you can buy the audiobook on Audible. That is still an option for those of you who have Audible credits or whatever. Eyes in the Walls. This one's not available on Audible yet. I'm working on it. It's like a long process with Amazon for a bunch of reasons. It takes forever for them to get back to you on anything. But you can listen to the whole audiobook for free on YouTube right now. So check those out. And I've got more books coming. The sequel to City of Silver should be coming next. And in the meantime, what else? Free Corona-chan anthology. You have to buy the paperback, but you can get the ebook for free. And that has the entirety of Crown of Sight in it. So it's got this book inside this one. So you can get that for free if you want to read some free stuff from me. And I've got way more books too. Those are just the most recent ones. So I'll be probably hyping up more of my fantasy stuff in the near future as I push that. And I don't know what horror we'll get to later in the year. I do have a book about witchcraft. Not like about witchcraft, but witches, being haunted by witches, that will come out this year, hopefully, if I can get it done. So thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you next time. I'll see you on the next stream, I should say. So hop on over to the next stream, and you can continue chatting with me there.